agree with the general statement as well. Mr. Graves, and then Ms. Kaptur. Thank you both of you, everybody for their patience.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. I'm very concerned with the timeline and the funding reduction included in this year's budget for the JSTARS recap, and wanted to discuss that for a few minutes. The timeline for IOC has gone from 2022 to 23 to 24, and as a result, the existing JSTARS fleet's life cycle costs are just going to go through the roof. Every year, the Air Force defers recapitalization. They are missing out on $100 million or more in reduced operations and maintenance cost. Secondly, the current E-8 aircraft are reaching the end of their service life, and they'll require waivers and additional funds to maintain themselves. This will likely lead to a lengthy capabilities gap, depriving warfighters the GMTI and battle management. And recently, half the fleet was in depot maintenance. This all but ensures that there will be a huge capability gap in the 2020 timeframe before replacement aircraft would even be ready right now. So now we're being told that there is need for more tech maturation. This is completely at odds with the plan that we've heard from the Air Force over the last 4 years. They've repeatedly said that the recap will involve mature technology, and that the recap will be an integration effort. Can you just help us understand and maybe explain why this year's budget includes additional delays, which result in additional expenses and some gaps in capability?
I can. I'll describe the acquisition strategy. First of all, you're absolutely right, and the Air Force does have a continuing requirement for ground-moving target GMTI radars of the kind JSTARS is. JSTARS is a fleet of 16 707-based aircraft now. They've been around for a long time. And they have to be recapitalized because we need that capability. And you don't need as big physically a radar anymore. Radars have gotten smaller. We flew a bunch of them, and General Dunford's forces flew them in Afghanistan, and we've flown them elsewhere. And so the Air Force is committed, and our budget does lay in the funds for a JSTARS recap. They have not chosen. They want to do a competitive source selection for that, both for the radar and the integration with the airframe. So they haven't picked a winner of that yet. They have announced that competition for a JSTARS replacement, and have put in money. I think it's somewhere between $2 and $3 billion in this 5-year defense plan to begin the recapitalization. So that's the acquisition strategy. We can get you more detail on that, but I think the thing I can say as Secretary of Defense is we're committed to that capability. We have to recapitalize the JSTARS because, as you note, it's an airframe now that's decades old, and we just can't keep flying it. We need the capability.
Well, thank you, Mr. Secretary, and you're absolutely right. It's a very old platform, but a very needed platform today. And my understanding in some of the briefings I've been in is that in not too distant time from now, half of the fleet will be at its full life cycle, 100% plus of its life cycle, and we still don't seem to be on a timeline that would fill that gap. And I think we've had tremendous support on this committee for this program and for advancing it and moving it as swiftly as possible because of our deep concern for our troops and the capabilities that they have in the field. Any additional support or hurriedness on this would be greatly appreciated.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Graves. Ms. Kaptur, and then